Every week we bring you the stories of athletes who inspire us.
Jaelen Nichols' life was forever changed when he was in kindergarten, and to this day doctors are uncertain why he lost his hearing, but the senior on the Central Catholic football team has not let that stop him from pursuing his dreams. It was a shot heard throughout the section. This was Jaelen Nichols in the Sac-Hi section basketball championship last season. An unbelievable shot for a one-of-a-kind player. Jaelen plays basketball and football for the Central Catholic Raiders.
I always dreamed about playing for Central Catholic.
But football has always been Jaelen's passion.
And also it was also a dream of mine to play varsity as a freshman, and I achieved that too. So, you know, my emotions were high, but at the same time I was proud of myself.
Central Catholic is the reigning Valley Oak League champions and NorCal champions. Now in his senior year, Jaelen hopes to play in college and beyond. But growing up, Jaelen had a difficult time coming to terms with the thing that made him different.
The main thing I really struggled with was just learning to accept the fact that I was deaf. I didn't want to be different. I couldn't understand. I was lost, confused.
Jaelen's mom and dad began noticing his hearing loss when Jaelen was in kindergarten.
We were watching a movie and I said his name, and he stood up and turned his ear to my mouth so he could hear out of the ear that he could hear out of. So that's when I first noticed that there was something going wrong.
Totally deaf in my left ear. I can't hear anything on my left ear, and then my right ear, I can only hear about like 20% if I take my hearing aid off. But with my hearing aid on, I can hear probably about like 80 to 75% maybe.
In kindergarten, we don't really know what happened, but it was just a matter of a weekend where the other side went profound to being deaf. So he's completely deaf in one side, and the other side is a profound loss.
To this day, doctors can't explain why Jaelen lost his hearing, but since he still had some hearing in one ear, he's able to wear a hearing aid.
Honestly, I remember this very clearly. We were in San Francisco at the hearing aid department, and at first I couldn't hear like no outside noise. Now you have like a water bottle and you can hear those crumblings. I couldn't hear none of that. The first thing I said was, "Hey Mom, I can hear your boots on the floor." And we just started bursting out laughing with like excitement because that was something I never heard before. Yeah, it was very overwhelming.
Even with improved hearing, accepting his differences was tough for young Jaelen, who wanted so desperately to be like his friends.
The biggest thing, he struggled with not wanting to be different, and then finally realizing that it's okay to be different, and then, you know, how does he move on from there and learn who he is as a person.
I used to think that I was the only deaf person in this world until I think one day I saw somebody else deaf and it just kind of clicked. And I have a family member that's also totally deaf, and she can't talk or speak. And so that just gave me how blessed I am to be able to speak and hear a little bit still.
Jaelen's hearing aid enhances all of the noise around him, making it tough distinguishing between background noise and someone who's trying to get his attention. Coaches will use hand signals to communicate on the field.
Definitely hearing everybody is struggling because there's a lot of people at once yelling my name. I don't know which one's who. Same with the coaches too. I miss a lot of those. That's why we usually have like hand signals and stuff to make sure we're all on the same page.
Today, Jaelen is confident and accepting. He doesn't let anyone tell him what he can't do, nor does he put a limit on himself. In fact, his advice to his younger self: embrace some of that silence.
I would tell young Jaelen to block out all the outside noise and to be yourself and not care what anybody says, and don't let anybody tell you what you can or can't do, because you can do anything that you want to do and put your mind to it.
So Jaelen hopes to play football at the next level, and you know, whatever team he goes to, there'll be a learning curve, having to learn new hand signals and stuff like that, but he is just thriving on the field and in the classroom.
Yeah, and he's learned it before, he can learn it again.
Exactly.
All right.